I can.
Hello.
Are you there, Hank?
Hello.
Land shark.
I better shut my office door. Sorry if you heard that.
Oh, hi everybody. It's Friday. Hey. Sorry, it took us a hot minute.
NJ, we are here. We are alive. It's going to be okay. We think.
We're not sure.
How's everybody going? How's everybody doing today? Or is anybody as frazzled as Abby and I are on this Friday? There's been a lot going on this week. But you know what? We're here for you, etc.
I don't know what else to say. Is WordPress working? Actually, is what I want to say.
It just came up about 5 minutes ago, so I've been like throwing some stuff together.
Okay.
It's not going to be great. We're going to touch on it, and I've decided that one day next week I'm going to do a live in the community, and we're going to do like a full walkthrough. But we can talk about it today. But all the in-depth stuff I wanted to go into, we're going to have to push that for a couple of days. It's just one of those things that happened this week.
WordPress went down, just so everybody knows. This wasn't us being unprepared. They have been down all day, so we couldn't prep it.
Yes, since early this morning.
Do you want me to show Squarespace behind the scenes first for a hot minute while you set up the pieces?
Yeah, if you want to. And before that, does anybody have any questions about websites or anything that you feel like we need to talk about before we jump into anything specific? Does anyone have an author website? Do we understand like what it is that you want to accomplish with the website? Like, is there anything we can talk about that might unmuddy the waters a little bit for everybody?
Yeah, all caps, everybody, all caps. Yeah. Whoever came up with that, I think it might have been NJ or B, somebody, all caps. Maybe it was Reed. I don't remember. If you guys put them in the chat. Otherwise, I have 2 Squarespace pieces that I could show everybody. Like I have my actual website.
Okay.
I actually think I also have my friend Ruth's website, which I won't. Somehow I'm still connected to the end of that. I don't think I'll take you through hers, but I do have a demo website that I started to work on for this and then thought, why am I rebuilding my own website when I could just show everybody my own website?
Yeah. And I've never used Squarespace. I'm obviously aware of Squarespace, but I have been a WordPress user for it feels like decades. Like when they were a brand new thing, I started and I've designed websites in WordPress for a long time, and I'm more comfortable in there. But I understand that if you don't have a coding background or want to get in and hack things to make them work, that Squarespace is an amazing drag and drop, point and click website builder, and it is a fantastic product. Anyway,
it's just easy. I mean, it's just easy, and I've used WordPress before, but yeah, I mean, it really is, and you're sort of beholden to the template. And if the template isn't exactly what you want, I mean, I think there are ways that you can go in and you can start doing, you can even make your own templates in Squarespace. That is above my pay grade. So, okay. So NJ does have a question. I write young adult and children's books. Should I put them on the same site or separate them? So let me show you guys Jennifer Duggan's website. I know I put this in my presentation on Monday, but this is a great example of somebody who's writing in more than one genre. And this is her homepage. So this is where you land when you first go to her site. And as you can see, she writes for young adult, she writes for adult, and she writes comic books, right? So if you go to her drop down here, you see all her books. But if you click on young adult, well, sorry, I clicked on the actual book. If you click on the word young adult, it takes you to the covers of all of her books. And the piece, this is why I kind of like to use Jennifer's website for this. Like her background, it's pretty just neutral and writerly. It's not it doesn't kind of pigeonhole her into like a young adult sort of feel, or an adult feel, or a comic feel. Like, it's just pretty neutral. And she's got all her books here. And then if you click on one of the books, it takes you to essentially, and this is pretty standard. She's kind of got her little blurb. She's got the jacket copy. She's got the ISBN. You can buy the books these different places. And then she's got praise from different magazines or the Washington Post, just telling you a little bit about Hot Dog Girl, which I've read, and it was adorable. Melt with You, same thing. So look, this one, it says available May 17th, 2022. So that's the reason why I kind of like using Jennifer. She is not updated, by the way. As a matter of fact, like, here's her news, which is apparently nothing. She has nothing to share with us. But it's not perfect, but yet she's traditionally published with 100 bazillion books. So, like, no pressure on you. That's the thing. I think so many of us really put a ton of pressure on ourselves to have these websites and make them perfect, and have these newsletters and make them perfect, and have this and make it perfect. And look at what's out there, y'all. It's doable, even if you don't have everything. Like, I went to Jennifer's site and I forgive her all of that. Actually, it makes me feel better about myself, because on the other hand, like, this is another one. So let me go here. It's John Scalzi.
Scalzi?
Scalzi. I always say his name wrong. Okay. This is his blog. He has an actual blog, and he literally updates it every freaking day. And has.
Do you want to put that on screen?
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Hello.
I saw you in the preview scrolling. And
so here it is. And you guys can see he posted today, August 15th. He has posted every day since 1998.
Yep. And his blog is called whatever.
Yeah, his blog is called whatever. Yeah. Fix Your Hearts or Die. And he does it. It's not just him. So John posts, but then so does Athena. And this is, I'm assuming, Athena. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it's his kid or his wife.
I think it's his wife. I think.
Okay. She looks super young.
Yeah.
So, but I look at this, and as my mother says, I try not to have agina about it, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so behind. I haven't been posting since 1998. Oh my God, and he does it every day, and I can't imagine doing it every day. And
Okay, and this is a great point, and I'm glad that you brought this up, because blogging used to be a thing. Like, people would start a blog and post all of their thoughts there, and slowly it started migrating to Facebook and Instagram, and Twitter some, but Twitter's a dumpster fire. And I'm not on Blue Sky, and I just assume, and probably, it's probably a wrong assumption, but I just assume that Blue Sky is all of the people that were mad at Twitter and just went to the other ditch on the other side of the road, and they're just screaming their heads off from the other perspective. I don't know. I'm not there. Not going to go there. Not going to. No. So just.
This is what I think about it. I'm just like, you guys go on without me.
Yes. But my point is that the people that did not abandon their own blogs for these other platforms, and we've all seen the platforms change, and all of a sudden you had 5,000 friends and they saw everything you posted. Oh, this is amazing. Then the algorithms start changing, and all of a sudden we're seeing that out of 5,000 friends, maybe 100 people see it, and then you have to pay to promote. And you're like, if you'd have just stuck with your own platform to begin with, you wouldn't have got sucked up in all this stuff. So the people that stuck it out and have a loyal following, it doesn't mean that when you post something on your website, you can't then share it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but
Mhm.
have a central location that you own and you control, that doesn't get sucked up in everybody's algorithms and the games that all these companies play.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Get off my lawn. So, yeah.
So NJ's got this other question here. If I have more than one pen name, should I make separate sites for each? And you know what? I think that's dependent on, like, is your pen name secret? Are
Right.
you hiding your identity? Are you
Yes.
hiding the fact that you write under these two different pen names? Or
Yeah.
is it out in the open? Is it just a
Yeah.
pen name that you have that's a pen name that is just a pen name? You
Yeah.
know, I
Off the
mean,
top of my head, I feel like that you use a pen name for one of two reasons, and tell me if I'm just not thinking of one. One is that if I'm writing in two different genres that might confuse readers, like for instance, science fiction and literary fiction. Maybe I write both. Everybody knows I write both, but what I write is targeted toward different kinds of readers. And so I might
mhm,
have a pen name. I might write science fiction under Hank Garner. I might write literary fiction under Henry Garner. They're both me. Everybody knows it's me. I use the same picture for both, but the pen name allows people to understand what I'm offering and know if what I'm offering appeals to you or not. Okay,
mhm.
that's the first reason. And
Yep.
and if you fall into that category, put them both on the same site and just tell people
Yeah.
these are my two offerings. I approach them a little differently because readers approach them a little differently. And here's how you can tell which one of these two things you might like. So that's one reason to do a pen name. And I would be perfectly fine posting those both on the same site with just a little explanation, giving people a heads up, like the example you showed us just a minute ago.
Yeah.
That people, there's no reason why someone would be offended by one or the other. It's just a different segment of the audience. The other reason might be if you write mainstream science fiction under one name, but then you write spicy romance. And by spicy romance, I mean like for audiences, 18 and over.
I really dialed back from using a hand gesture right there, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
I dialed it
You
back.
did it under the desk, didn't you?
I did. I did.
In that case, where the other thing that you publish might isolate your initial
Mhm.
reading audience because maybe they're not into that and maybe they look down on that or might be offended by that. You might want to segment that on two different sites so that you don't get overlap from one or the other, so that not only are your reading audiences segmented, but you protect your
Yeah.
reputation on one. I know I was
And
being
then,
very careful about how I said that because I'm not trying to use judgy language, but
no, so along those same lines, very similarly related. So my girlfriend Ruth, her
yeah,
name's Ruth Cardello. She was my neighbor in Rhode Island, as a matter of fact. She was New York Times bestselling romance author, right? When she first started writing romance, she
yeah.
was also a kindergarten teacher. She did
Oh,
not use a pen name. Now, her work isn't like spicy, spicy, but I mean,
probably
it's got
spicy enough.
P and V in it. And so she was like, I didn't know my first book was going to make it big. And I had parents who bought it and read it and were like, you're teaching my kindergartner. And granted to say, she went on a sabbatical, did not return to the classroom, not because of that, but because she
Right.
wanted to transition into a writing career. And when the book took off, she did it. But she said, had I known that that book was going to take off, I would have used a pen name just because I
Sure.
wanted to keep my day job
Right.
separate from my writing career. And so, if that's the case, if it's something like that, and you're hiding who you really are, you know, then anything you do, your website, your newsletter, your social media, that's all going to reflect that. So, I can't hear you, Hank. Are you doing that on purpose? Hank, we
And
can't hear
I'm
you.
muted while I'm on my soapbox. While we should be able to say the world is one way, but the reality is, that if
Yeah.
you're a kindergarten teacher and you're selling spicy romance, some people are going to have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we
Yeah.
can't make people think a certain way.
So I can point out along these lines, one of the things you can do, and we haven't really talked about this yet, but my website actually has multiple URLs that point to the same website. So my podcast years ago was Mom Writes Podcast.
Mhm.
And the first 2 seasons, we hosted it on the Author Accelerator website. The third season, we didn't realize like how much space that was taking up on a website, hosting it on a website, and we
Oh
were
yeah.
bogging down the site. So I had my friend Terry LeBlanc, who we all met on the Dabble podcast the other day.
Yep.
She helped me do some wizardry, which I don't understand. But one of the things that she did was we bought momwritespodcast.com or something, and she pointed it to my website where now I only have like 15 or 16 episodes in season 3, and that's it. So my website's not terribly bogged down, but that URL goes to abbymatthews.org. And then I recently just bought abbymatthewsbooks.com. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have everything point to abbymatthewsbooks.com because that makes a little more sense to me. But if you have 2 pen names and you can have a URL for each of your pen names, you can actually point them back to the same website so that if people are searching and you're lucky enough that your name is in the URL, people search it, it will all point to one website and you don't have to maintain 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I had a similar situation. I ran a podcast for a decade called Author Stories. And my main website for that was hankgarner.com. And people said in the beginning, why don't you register authorstoriespodcast.com? Well, and I did, and I had it point to hankgarner.com. But my whole purpose for that was I wanted my name, Hank Garner, to be associated with writers and this whole thing. Well, I went to reboot my website a while back, and I wound up just pointing the name hankgarner.com to my YouTube channel, where I had when I would post a podcast, I would also post it on YouTube. Just as it's a video that's audio only. It's just an image, the podcast image, and audio only. But there's 1,300 episodes there that's just on YouTube. Well, so now that I'm beginning to relaunch my website, I registered hankgarnerbooks.com, and I'm going to have hankgarner.com point to that as well, but then also link to the YouTube channel so that they're all in the same universe and I don't lose that old content that I created, because I built content for a decade and it's all about writing books. None of that has aged out necessarily. So any way that you can find ways to keep all the things you do under your one umbrella, as long as, like we talked about, spicy content, as long as you're not offending part of your audience, do it. Bring it all under your umbrella.
Yeah. All right. Woo. Let's see. When making children's book pages, how do we make it for the gatekeepers and the kids? All right. So
NJ, this is question of the decade.
Yeah, right.
This is a question that Abby and I have had so many long conversations about. This is for a kids author. This is the question, isn't it?
All right. So I love this one. Jeff Kenny's Diary of a Wimpy Kid page. Here's what I love about it. All right. So you see books. I mean, obviously he's lucky enough to have movies.
Right.
For teachers, right? Appearances. But then also, here's the kid part. Ready? Wimp yourself. Now, obviously, he's put some money into this, and
Right.
that, or he's just like really technically savvy, and we're not. So here it is. It's loading. All right. With your family, where you know, pick who you are, and then you change your hair, and you change your shirt, and you know, all the things. But he just simply has content for everyone on the site. So,
Right.
like, for teachers is obviously going to be one of the biggest ones. So, he's got a teaching guide, series guide, movie teaching guide, classroom kit. So, he's got all of these giveaways.
Yeah.
Obviously, like if I was a kid, I would totally download this diary of a blank
Yeah.
and fill it out myself. So, I mean, again,
this is a question I have, Abby. Go back to his homepage, if you will.
oh, yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
the main landing page. Who is this page for?
So, I mean, this page, ooh, I mean, if you're a kid and you're looking at it, how many kids are really going to like how many elementary school kids
Right.
are going to a website? That's my question.
I feel like this page is geared toward parents and teachers. I think
But
it's fun enough that if a kid lands on it, they can figure out where to go. But I feel like his main target when someone first lands is the adult. I really
yeah. The cheesiest website around.
Yeah.
Old school, new cheese.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he obviously has content for kids, and even the adult the content geared toward adults is still kid friendly. But I feel like this is really targeted toward the buyers and not necessarily the kids.
Yeah. Get to know Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
And the get to know Jeff, look at the language he uses there. This is geared toward adults. That's not language that you would use to connect with a middle schooler or upper elementary kid.
No, but it is written much like his books. You know,
right.
He doesn't have long, complicated sentences. He doesn't
Yeah.
have, if a kid landed on this, they could dissect this very easily.
Yeah.
But you're giving the parents the information that they're looking for. How old is he?
Yeah.
You know, what did he do? Oh, look, he had a comic strip. Oh, he has a multi-book deal. What kid gives a crap that he's got a multi-book deal? But
what kid cares that he's born in 1971?
Yes. None.
Yeah.
None.
That to me, that's language geared to Gen X parents who are raising kids.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
Tons of downloads, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, he's got money in that website too, which made me hate to use it, because like a website like Jennifer Duggan's, even though if you look down at the bottom, it does say who designed her website. So she did have somebody else do it. And I don't know, maybe that's her best friend. And she didn't pay a lick. She paid friends and family prices. Like, I'll buy you pizza, you know?
Right.
I don't know. So, but definitely, I think if you really kind of dissect a couple of other children writers' websites, actually, so many of them that I can think about are 100% just geared towards the parents and the teachers.
Yeah.
They're not, they don't even look fun. I mean, at least Jeff's looks fun. So,
I feel like it's the kind of site that a parent could pull up and then tell the kid, okay, this is a safe place for you to play around, and there's stuff on here for you. That's kind of the feeling I get. Or a classroom.
I'm okay to load that on your iPad, or put it up on screen on the smart board when they're in the classroom.
Yeah.
So should each heading up top go to a separate page, or scroll down on the landing page, which is easiest for people? That's all your template. And I think it's probably 6 one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah. I think if you're shooting for accessibility and making sure that your web page loads properly across all platforms, all browsers. I think a separate page for each is probably the safest way to go about it. Because when it's a separate segment on the same page and you're scrolling and you click here and it automatically scrolls down there,
Okay.
it's using what's called page anchors to do that. And you just run the risk of a browser on an iPad or something, maybe not interpreting that the same way that Chrome on your desktop might or something. And the safest way is a separate page for everything. It's probably as fast as our internet connections are now, and as long as you're not loading it down with tons of videos and gigantic images that slow down, it's probably not going to be a lot of time difference in loading pages versus that. So I would just put it on a separate page and just to cover all your bases. But that's more of a usability thing and not a this is right or wrong.
Yeah.
All
right, I got a hot take on this one.
Okay.
Views on blogs, helpful or cluttering?
Well,
if you're not going to keep it up, then I'm like, why do it? I mean, if I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do with mine, which is there is like a blog function that you can put on there, but I'm just going to have a different section for each of my books where I can share pictures of the things that inspired it or this or that, where it's not, I'm going to post frequently and regularly. It's, I'm just going to post based on the book and what I want to share, so that if somebody's interested in reading more about that book, it's going to take you to these pages. But I have no desire to start a blog. I feel like I didn't start in 1998 with our friend John over there. I'm, I would, as much as I would love to have one, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. If you have the bandwidth and you have plenty to say, I'm like, do it up. I mean, what's the deal with SEO these days and the advent of AI search bots? I mean, that was the whole point of the blog in the first place, wasn't it? Was it helped with your SEO?
Well, that, and it's an outlet for you to, if you just got things that you want to say, that's, and I think that's kind of, I mean, John Scalzi's has evolved to definitely a promotion tool and all that, but it started as just the place for him to post like snarky hot takes, or I saw a movie last night. Let me tell you everything that I thought about it, and just, I'm a little bit that way.
Fruit time, and it was kind of awesome. I bought these oranges. They were called Primal Queens. Let's give them a review. And I'm like, I'm in. What did you think about that orange? Tell me more.
It's kind of primal. I 100% agree. If you're going to have a blog, post there with some regularity, at least once a week. If it's a blog, you need to post at least once a week and try to be consistent with it. If you're going to post once a week, post on Wednesdays or whatever the day is, but try to be consistent. But, so that if you start a pattern and people know I'm going to drop by Abby's website on Wednesday afternoon because she's going to have some update about something, then I want to show up on Wednesday afternoon and you have something, because when I come there twice and you don't have anything new, I'm never coming back again.
Short attention span theater, you guys. I mean,
there's just too much competing with our attention. It's not necessarily short attention span. Let me correct. And we do have short attention spans, and the digital world that we live in is making our attention spans even shorter. But there's also too much competing for our attention span. And I have in my living room and my bedroom, I have a giant TV with 9 different streaming apps where I can fall in all weekend and never come up for air and just be entertained all weekend long. And I don't have to go search somebody's blog to be entertained. Things are competing to entertain me.
I blame SpongeBob SquarePants.
100%.
Which was one of the first cartoons, right, to do that thing where it would change the scenes every so many seconds to keep your attention. And there were all these studies that it was like training kids to have these short attention spans. I didn't let my children watch it for a really long time, and they still have short attention spans. So
yeah, we'll never be able to point to one thing as the problem.
But I like to blame SpongeBob.
Of course,
just to have something to blame.
We love a hot take.
That's my hot take, SpongeBob. Yeah. If we post an upcoming release date for a book and don't meet it, how do we deal with that?
Okay, so there's a couple of different. Are we talking about like pre-orders on Amazon and you don't meet your pre-order date? You'll be penalized by Amazon and you'll lose the ability to post pre-orders for a while, and there's repercussions. If we're talking about just an announcement on your website, this is coming out September 1st, and you realize I'm not going to have edits back in time, it's going to be September 10th. Then just be upfront, tell people, we've got to push this back a week and a half. This is why. That the book is still coming. Maybe here's a sample chapter or something to keep you engaged until then, or something. But just be upfront and honest with people and be as transparent as possible. I don't think you ever, let me not say ever. I think it's always a good policy to be as transparent as possible, and I only give that caveat because I'm sure someone will come and say, well, anyway, be as transparent as you can, especially with people that are giving you their money.
All right, here's the good one. Advice to all the introverts who struggle to advertise ourselves. I am an extreme extrovert. I do not feel like I can give advice to introverts.
I'm an extrovert.
It's easy for me is different. Yeah.
I don't have trouble talking to people. I can turn it on or off, but I'm just content to just sit by myself and read a book. But talking about yourself, I think is a different thing. That's neither introvert or extrovert. I think we're talking about a different condition here, and condition is the wrong word. But we're taught to be humble and to not toot your own horn and all of that. And this is just a thing that you just have to do it, and you have to find a way to connect with people so that you don't come across as salesy. And I don't see this as an introvert or extrovert thing. It's a find a way to connect with your tribe. And we've talked about this before, so that when you do offer your thing, it doesn't come across as just the guy down in the corner hawking, the newest book or whatever. Not helpful.
So what if you employ some of the conversational strategies that people give? So oftentimes people do like to talk about themselves if you ask them specific questions. So if you go onto social media and you start interacting with readers, ask them questions about themselves, ask them questions about what they like to read, ask things that then they're going to start remembering you, and that you engage them and you showed an interest in them, and you are creating a rapport without having to talk about yourself, because you're asking other people to talk about themselves, but you're planting your name in front of them, so that when you do come out and say, hey, I have this book for sale, first of all, then you have the language of your readers that you can use for marketing. So if you notice that the people that you say, what do you like to read? And there are certain words or phrases, you can start to incorporate that into your own marketing, because those are things that are on your readers' minds. But also they see you as someone who is genuine and interested in them as a person, not just taking money from them in order to sell the book.
Yes.
So, all right. What is relevant on a blog, and how do we not annoy with our posts. I have never written a blog. All my blog posts were like the show notes for my podcast. So I feel like that's kind of a different story though. Have you ever blogged?
Yes. Yes. I I feel like blogging is a little different than some other things, because if you're blogging, someone has to come to you.
Mhm.
So you just spouting your opinions about things, well, they came to your site, so they get what they get, and you can choose to read the blog or not. Um, so it's different than someone buying your book and then there just being essays in the back of it where you're just forcing your opinion on someone, they came to buy your science fiction book, and you're all of a sudden, giving your opinions on economics and stuff, like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. I think the blog is the place where you post your hot takes or your reviews of
Mhm.
things, or just I kind of see the blog as a place where um you have your uh public persona, shall we say, where I'm Abby Matthews, I'm middle grade fiction author, and you get this one picture of Abby. But then if you go over to your blog and you start talking about, this new weaving project that you're doing, and you're making, yarns, and they're like, wow, that's wild. I never even thought of that. Or you're, posting stories about your three pigs that, start, ramshacking the neighborhood, and you're like, oh, well, Abby is a whole three-dimensional person that I feel like the blog is where
Yeah.
you get to see the real you, and not just the salesy you. If
Yeah. Might even be stuff that you keep off of social media. I don't know. Maybe that's the stuff that goes on social media. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's where your social media points to your blog where you dig in a little deeper to those weird things like how much do your pigs weigh, Abby? And what happens when they do go into your neighbor's yard and poke at their window with their snouts and ask for snacks? And your neighbors oblige them and
yeah.
then send them home as if they understand English.
Y
Um,
and
you
I
know,
think the way you just said that is perfect. Like Facebook, and especially if you're running Facebook ads or whatever, like, you're gonna have a very curated view of you and your
mhm.
work. But, if you click over to the website, that's where you get the full Abby, and I think that's
Yeah,
actually where, and I hate to use the word fans, but I think that's where fans are made. Like people go,
yeah.
oh, I came here for her book, but I stayed, for her, nosy
For
pig.
rogue pigs.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
how is a news tab different than a blog? So maybe your news tab, though, I mean, that's more, I think, updates on what books are coming out, what
Yeah.
bookstores you might be doing a signing at, where
Yeah.
you're making an appearance. Are you going to be on a podcast soon?
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of
Exactly.
things like that. I think that's
Yeah.
more the salesy piece,
Yeah.
where the blog is more the like biography, behind the scenes,
Yeah.
personal piece.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, and you can connect your blog to the mailing list, and
Yeah.
nobody's really brought that up, but our blogs and newsletters and the news tab, there's probably a lot of crossover in
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
So
And
um,
and the thing that there's no one that there are no rules about what has to go where. You can have
yeah.
crossover all over the place, and nobody's going to tell you you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. My thoughts on blogs. He's got it in all caps. I'm going to put it out there. Blogs are you're sharing your diary with the world. A book
Yes,
is your hard work to create a new glimpse at life. That's a great way to put it.
I like that, B. I like
Um,
that a lot.
how do we know if areas of our site are doing their job? How do we know when to turn off the blog or change the colors, etc.? So you can see how many people have come to your site. Uh, I'm trying to think of where I find that information on Squarespace. Once upon a time, I looked at it and I knew I could have told you all those things. I don't know that I had looked at it in a very long time. I think because I find that kind of depressing on my own personal website.
In WordPress, there's a button in your back end that says stats, and it will tell you exactly how many visitors you had and what pages they looked at and what posts they engaged with, and you get all of the. You can go as granular as you want to, and if you've let's just use some hypothetical numbers. Say you have 100 people that landed on your website this month, and out of that 100 people, 2 of them, maybe out of 100, 50 of them clicked your blog, but only 2 of them read read different entries or something. That may give you the idea that, okay, something about my blog is not engaging people. They're not wanting to stay. Is it the colors? Is it hard to read? Is the content that they land on, is it driving people away? Am I offending them somehow with my presentation or my words or my content? Then by having that information, then you can start asking yourself questions, and only you can answer those questions. But if you have a certain number that hits your website, a certain number that hits the blog, but they're not staying, that gives you some information to start looking at, okay, now why is that happening? And I can't answer that for you, but at least it tells you where to start looking.
That's one of those data things,
Yeah.
Like some people are really good at data.
Right.
Okay, Jeremy says, how much information about our books is optimal to garner interest? As in, how much should we reveal about works in progress? Somebody on the W campus the other day had he was querying, and he had, what the book that he was querying, he talked about, where in the process he was, that sort of thing. I thought that was great. I did the same thing on my website for a while. The homepage, it just had a list of my books and what was in the drawer and what was in the slush pile and what was being revised and what was with an editor. I had it all just kind of laid out, but I didn't give a ton of information. What do you think, Hank?
I'm going to share a tab, and this is as soon as I can find it, because I have a million tabs open.
I only have 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 6 open right now. I'm so proud of myself.
Look at you. Why is it not showing up? Okay, let me do this. Let me pull this. No, new window. Okay, so if we, okay, Brandon Sanderson, and of course he's Brandon Sanderson, but on his website you get he's got this kind of informational piece right up front, weekly update. He does these videos every week telling you what's going on there. And then he's got, where you can go to his blog, you can find his books. He's got a start here because he has several series, like where do I get in? Where do I start reading? And he gives people that. But right below the fold, if we're, because we're old enough to remember newspapers, he tells Brandon's progress, and he tells you exactly where he is on all of his in works.
Oh, that's cool.
And I've always liked that, because if you're wondering about his book coming out next year, you can tell right there. Song Rise is 87% finished, and he used to have little bars.
87% written, or do you think it's been written and it's 87% through the publishing process?
I think it's 87% through the process, because he used to have bar graphs on the side, and he would tell you at what point in the process he was. Like first draft is 70% done, and then he would go to second draft, he would go to editing and all that. Now it's just a percentage. So I'm willing to bet that that's of the whole process.
Mm.
But, you know,
That's cool.
yeah. So that's as far as like how much information, I think, especially if you have more than one book published and people are coming back they want the next project, put it out there, tell people where you are. That way, it if you have loyal readers, they can know to encourage you. um if they come back and you've been at 30% for 6 weeks, you know come on, you can do it. That
This is different from this. We're get off my lawn.
right.
You know what my mom would say? My mama would say,
What would
imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So if you find somebody who's doing it a certain way and you like it, copy it. So if you like this idea of Brandon Sanderson's, little graph or bar graph or what, I mean, you don't even have to make it crazy. You could take a Post-it and like a marker, and you could draw your own little like 100%, 0%, and put your bar and fill it in. Like the thing at school when you would do like the fundraisers, and you could, I don't know, put one of those on your wall and take a picture of it and put it up, on your website. I mean, I think that'd be super stinking cute. But, just because he does it fancy doesn't mean you have to, but you can take that idea and make it work with whatever skill set, that you
or
have.
even write a blog about it. Hey, I'm about halfway done with this first draft, and here you don't have to give away spoilers, but you could tell people like what you're feeling during the process, or like it's taking me a few more days because I just wrote a scene that is so intense I can't wait for you guys to read it because it wrecked me to write it. I can only imagine what it's going to do to you to read it. Like people love that kind of stuff, and if you know of an author that has done exceptionally well at communication with their readers, like Brandon Sanderson, like he makes promises, he delivers on all of his promises, he's never late delivering a project, and he has a rabid fan base because he connects with his readers so well. Go find out what he's doing and imitate that, until you figure out a way to do it yourself. Imitate what he's doing because he's doing it very well.
I want to imitate you because I realize you have your book in your name. I want to put my book in my name, W Community Manager / A Little Trouble Goes a Long Way, which I feel like describes both my book and my personality right now. So I feel like, but I just noticed you put that on there. That was good. That was slick, Hank. All right, here's another one. How long is too long for a post? Speaking as a wordy person, do it up, NJ. That's the place where you can write a tome. I mean, people are going to hang in there, and if they don't want to hang in there, they read what they want and then they move on. But that's your place.
If you see that it's going to be exceptionally long, break it up into part 1, part 2, and that gives them something to come back for next week.
Or you know what I love too? When people say TLDR and then they sum it up at the top. I always appreciate that. And if that hooks me, I'll
go read the whole thing. Yeah. Because I want all the gory details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Journey says, when we change our websites, should we change things one at a time or all at once? Either way.
Yeah.
Either way.
Depends on if you need an overhaul or not.
Yeah. And I have to say, once mine was up, I wanted to overhaul it for the class this week. And I drug my feet because I thought it was going to take me forever. And it took me like an hour because it was just a template. And I had already written, I decided I liked my bio and I was going to keep it. I was just going to update a picture. I was just going to, it ended up not being as big a deal as you think.
Yeah.
So,
and this is maybe this is a good place. This is where a blog comes in super handy because your website can remain mostly static. Have it dynamic enough that when you publish new projects, people can go see those new things published. But as far as like major updates, your blog can kind of handle all of that. Because if you have a really active blog and you're posting there a lot of times people will bookmark your blog page and they don't necessarily come in through the front door of your main landing page. Like they know Abby, they know she's the author of this and that. They understand your bio. They don't need to keep going back to that page, but your blog is the dynamic place that's always updating, and that's where they're going to land anyway.
Star pointed out a news tab doesn't always only include you, so you can give like some of the. So my friend Ruth, God, this is like, I guess I'm going to need to call Ruth this weekend because this is the third time I've said her name during this call. Ruth used to have there was a group of romance writers that one of the things they did was always be promoting, and they were always promoting each other depending on who had a book coming out that week or that month or et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of times they would post the first chapter or the first couple pages of somebody else's book in the back of their new release in exchange for having then that other writer would post a few pages of their book in the back of their next release. Right. And because of all of that, they were constantly giving news about each other. So they always had something to say. So if you end up making a group of people where you guys can all share readers, and that was the key piece. It's not like Hank and I could do that for each other because I'm writing for kids and he's not, we don't have the same readership. But if you find other writers that have the same readership as you, books aren't a zero-sum game. Just because they buy my book doesn't mean they're not going to buy your book. And so if you can find a way to share readers, I think that like the news tab, the blog, things like that, that's like instant content that you can put up there and share.
And here's something to think about with the news tab versus the blog. If you've got a group of friends like you're talking about where you're doing promotion for each other, and maybe they stop by and you do a quick interview of them, and and this is new content that you're bringing. You don't necessarily want to post all of that on your news tab because the big exciting news about your book launch is going to get pushed down, and it's eventually going to roll off of that page and go to an archive page. And then the important news about your book launch kind of gets washed away with all of the fun stuff you're doing. So leave that stuff for your blog and leave the news, like the things that you really want people to know, the news and the fun stuff, put that over on your blog. That's, just if you're posting a lot, just make sure that your news that you, and by news, I mean important things that you want your readers to know, make sure it doesn't just get rolled off the page because you've got so much posting.
So this question, NJ, your question about connecting an email list through your site, we're going to talk about all that next week for newsletters. So I'm going to put a pin in that particular question. Same with your question about how often should you send out emails to your list. All of that, we're going to cover it next week. So,
and just a quick answer to that, you should not bury that on your website. It should be prominent. People should always be able to see when they look at your website, one of the main things you want them to know is how to subscribe to your newsletter. That needs to be prominent.
And a lot of people put it right at the bottom. It's a big thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be right at the top because I think people are trained at this point to scroll to the bottom to look. But as long as you just make it really obvious. All right. B says, can put page trackers to get that info. Oh, we're talking about the stats on WordPress. Okay. DA says, would it be best to put short stories we write on a daily in a blog if we want to share them?
Sure.
I don't see why not. Yeah. I think that's great. And maybe what you do is once you have so many of those stories, or you find stories that work well together that you can put together in your own little anthology, even if they're already on your blog and they've been shared, if you put them together in an EPUB, you could give that away to encourage people to sign up for your newsletter. So you could make all that content work for you.
And let me tell you a little story about that. Andy Weir wrote The Martian. Everybody remember the movie with Matt Damon where we spent $1 billion to go rescue Matt Damon off of Mars? That started as a serialized story on Andy's blog that he was giving away for free. And people harassed him because they wanted an easy way to read that on their Kindle. So he collected all those blog posts and figured out how to publish on KDP so that he could self-publish The Martian, because people were pestering him about how they could get on their Kindle, and he sold it for 99 cents. And just as a way to make it easy for people to click and get it on their Kindle. He had no interest in selling it, where it was simply to make it easy so he could quit answering emails from these people. And he sold, 40 bajillion copies, and Random House came knocking, and they were like, we'd like to publish this for you and pay you, 4 dozen bars of gold. And, the rest is history. So, publish. If you've got something and you don't know what to do with it, put it on your blog. It's,
yeah.
Crazier
things have happened.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Here we go. NJ's got one. I love this all caps thing, by the way, you guys. It makes it so much easier. Is there a place for fan fiction on an author website? Usually that stuff can't be sold, but it would be nice to have a read. Hank?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think if you're not selling it.
Is there a place for Yeah, I don't see why. I don't see why not. I'm not a lawyer, but
I mean, clearly label it fanfic, maybe.
Yeah, clearly label it
clear that you're not selling it.
Yeah.
Maybe double check us on the licensing rights there.
Don't carry this video into court and say they said it was okay. Double check us. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
If you have like a Wattpad or some, an account where you're putting it, you could always put a button on your website that says, if you want to read my fanfic, click here. And when you click it on that button, it takes you to, because all that is just taking the link.
Yeah, you're just making it.
Putting it in the button. And so that can take you off of your site to Wattpad or wherever, where then people can read the fan fiction. They know it's you. You've connected everything, but that way it's not technically on your site. And that might be like a good workaround. Is it possible that people preview your website before you publish it, or do you have to publish it before you get feedback? No, you can actually password protect. Most sites will let you password protect your website and publish it. Any Joe Schmo off the street who wanders upon your website will just see the page asking for the password, which they don't have, so they can't get in. But you could say NJ, you wanted B and Journey and DA to look at your website. You could give the 3 of them the password. They could get in, they could see your work. You could then adjust, shift things based on their feedback. And then that way, that's I think the workaround for if you want your website to stay private, but you still want the feedback. Do you know another way, Hank? That's it.
That's the best way. Just
yeah. And most of the templates walk you through that piece.
Yes.
So let's see. A lot of blogs allow for queuing posts. Oh, like the queuing posts is what is a queuing post? Like
that's probably like queuing it. Like if you write 3 blog posts and you want one to publish Monday, one Wednesday, one Friday, that you queue them up and they'll auto publish.
Schedule them.
Yeah, scheduling post. Thank you.
All right. So, oh, what Hank said.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Nailed it, Hank. Look at you. Look at you. Okay. Do you want to share your screen? I see you have it, or no, it's still Brandon Sanderson up there. Do we want to punt because it's 3:00? Do we want to
let's punt because I want
to
do a better
your day has not gone the way you intended. So
exactly.
Thanks to WordPress.
Yeah. Let me see if I'll just put this, this is the, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't sure what it was showing. Yeah, there's, you can see that I've got a header there and it's terrible. And I've got books there. And then I've got a link to our YouTube channel and then my old podcast. And then we're going to add a bunch of other stuff there. But that's, that's just kind of down and dirty.
I also linked to our YouTube channel because I was like, oh, that gives me something to put on my website. So
absolutely does. And we spend a lot of time generating content for that channel.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's punt the demo till next week. If you didn't watch my Squarespace demo and you're really just jonesing for a demo, that is in the community right now. Otherwise, Hank and I will surprise you with a live next week. We won't really surprise them. Like we'll schedule it out ahead of time and let everybody know. We won't just pop into your feed. Like,
oh, and fair warning to everybody. I have 2 grandchildren that are due. One is due like any day now, and the other one is going to be born via C-section on September the 11th. So I might just disappear for a day. And if nobody can find Hank, it's because I'm at the hospital and we're having grandbabies. So,
which is so exciting.
Yeah.
I think everyone will forgive you for that, Hank.
Yeah. Baby Daisy and baby Lily.
Oh my God. I just love that their names are flower names because I have 2 children with bird names. And so our middle names were all bird names. I have Robin and Wren. So I love that you have.
I love it. And they didn't plan that. One's here in South Mississippi where I live and the other's in Texas. And they just.
And you don't think they talk?
Oh, I'm sure they did. But these are also the 2 kids that we had a family FaceTime call one night, and my son and his wife were calling the whole family to tell us that they were pregnant. And my daughter in Texas just took a test right before that call, and she popped on and she was like, guess what, guys, me too. And so this whole thing has been wild the entire time. So yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, it's Friday, TGIF.
It's Friday.
Thanks for
have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the beach.
Do it.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. Take a book.
Got my beach pants on. I'm going to the beach. So. All right, everybody. Peace out. We'll see you on the flip.
Bye.